Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mellissa Thomas of Florida National News coming to you with the evening news rundown for your Saturday, April 25th, 2020. Thanks as always for sticking around with us. We always appreciate you. So, as always, we want to open with the audience question first. And this comes on the heels of some news coming in from the Associated Press. So what the Associated Press has recently done is a study of the different states that are creating a response in terms of what's called contact testing with regards to COVID-19, contact tracing regards to COVID-19. So those who have been possibly exposed to someone who has tested positive for COVID-19, who has been in crowded areas, who have been treating folks that have been tested positive for COVID-19. So here's a question for you. Should the states be rolling this out on their own, or should they be receiving guidance from the CDC? Because so far what the Associated Press has found is that in this beginning stage, a lot of the states have been on their own. They've been doing rollouts on their own. And as a result of that, the criteria has been different across the many states. And a lot of the states have different sizes of teams and workforces that are doing the contact tracing. And so this process has drawn out a little bit longer than is expected. According to the AP, some studies are showing that some 300,000 people may be needed to do this in a timely fashion. Some states have as little as 70 staff. This is Louisiana by name, have 70 staff that are currently doing the contact tracing across their state, even though they're one of the ones that's hardest hit by COVID-19. But leave your comments below about that. Do you feel that the CDC should give something that's uniform across the country, or do you believe that they are right in letting the states take care of it on their own, using their own criteria, their own standards, with a little bit of guidance from the CDC? As of right now, the CDC says their guidance is pending. They said that it is not their intention to do something on a national scale unless everyone is on the same page with that. So leave us your comments below. Let us know what your thoughts are on that. Now, speaking of COVID-19 updates, here in the US, continuing on with our US news, here in the US, the US National Guard has been ramping up their steps to help slow the spread. So they've been helping with nursing homes. They've stepped up their assistance in the nursing homes across the country. So in Alabama, the National Guard has been deployed there to help disinfect the facilities. Over in California, they've been helping with administrative and medical assistance in LA. And then here in Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis has deployed the National Guard to assist with testing. In the state of Nevada, the National Guard has been instrumental in delivering personal protective equipment, or as we all know, as PPE. Now, moving on in the COVID topic to our neighbors north of us in Canada, there's a story out now that Canada just received a shipment of 1 million KN95 respirator masks that unfortunately are not fit to help their frontline workers. So the main headline is that it didn't meet the country's standards to help frontline workers, which is what they really needed it for. However, the health officials there in Canada have decided to keep the masks because they are still fit for consumer use for others to use. So that's news coming out of there. A lot of their PPE has been coming from China, and this particular shipment of 1 million masks came from China. 70% of their PPE is coming from China. The rest is coming from the United States, the UK, and Switzerland. So moving on to the state of Florida, some interesting news coming out of here in Florida. Governor Ron DeSantis, as we've been talking about all week, has been rolling out different meetings in his Reopen Florida task force. Now, what he has done over the weekend, what the task force has done here over the weekend, is they have made a form available for public comment. So this is kind of the last hurrah because they're starting to finalize their evaluation, their recommendations for reopening the state of Florida. So if you're interested in leaving a comment, the link was an everlasting long link. So we have given you a shortened one here for your use. So if you have a comment on how you feel Florida should reopen, be sure to go to that link below and leave your feedback. It is a form where you simply fill out your information and then write as long a piece of feedback as you want to. It's an open form, so you can go ahead and write it on in. Now, speaking of business, talking about reopening Florida, we're going to jump over to the state of Texas really quick. And right now, what's going on is that the state of Texas, their bars and their restaurants, their bars and their nightclubs, are looking to reopen a lot sooner than what has been proposed. As of right now, the tentative schedule going on there is that the restaurants are set to open May 5th to be sit-in, much like you heard us report about Georgia yesterday, how Georgia's restaurants are reopening for folks to be able to come back and have a seat and enjoy their meals. Right now, Texas is tentatively scheduled to open May 5th, their restaurants. However, the Texas Bar and Nightclub Association are pushing for the bars and nightclubs to reopen on May 5th, as opposed to what they're tentatively scheduled to open on, which is May 19th. And of course, if you're familiar with that date, it makes sense that they would push for that phase one date, because May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, who wants to miss that? Who wants to miss that celebration as a bar or a nightclub? That's a huge income opportunity for the bars and nightclubs. So that's a big push going on over in the state of Texas for business. Now, jumping over to our entertainment news, speaking of opportunities, what's happening, however, is that while states are beginning to reopen, the theaters are actually very hesitant to follow in the state's footsteps. A lot of the theaters, particularly AMC, who released a statement on Friday saying that they're waiting till the summer, they're pretty much very cautious. They're not going to reopen until there's a blockbuster on their hands to be able to bring audiences in to see. So as of right now, AMC said they're waiting for Mulan and the Christopher Nolan film Tenet. Those are the two closest summer blockbusters that are on the schedule. So for right now, that's what they're waiting on to reopen. If you're looking for an alternative, you won't be able to find too many options. Cinemark is another theater chain that has said that they're going to wait as well, even with the different state governments allowing them to reopen, because their priority is public safety. And we're talking about over 5,500 movie theaters across the country in total, all the theater chains. In total, they're saying they want to wait, they want to stay safe to keep their audiences safe as well. And as we wrap up here in a little bit of sports news, we've got some lighthearted news on tap here. So last week, Tampa Bay Buccaneer Tom Brady was in a little bit of trouble because he ran in a public park there in the city of Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay Mayor Jane Castor decided to reach out today on social media. She released the letter that she sent to Tom Brady, as well as Rob Gronkowski, who is the latest Buccaneer. Basically, she riddled that letter with the greatest puns in the world. In the letter, she stated that she couldn't, with her law enforcement background, couldn't quite settle for a goat running wild in one of their beautiful parks, quote unquote. And she thanked Tom Brady for being a, quote, good sport, despite the not so good first impression of having a little bit of civil trouble on his first arrival here. And of course, she said she understands that they're ready to party. Those of you who know the pirate reference there. And that was more of a jab at Gronk, more of a playful little jab at Gronk, because we know that Gronk likes to both work hard on the field and play hard off the field. But that was her way of issuing an apology, making sure to smooth things out, as both players are now here in Tampa and getting adjusted to the environment, getting adjusted to the new city, the different sights and the sounds. So this does it for our briefing here at the Evening News Rundown. Thank you guys, as always, so much for sticking around. And remember, be sure to leave a comment below on our question that we asked you guys. What are your thoughts on the rollout of contact tracing? Should this be happening? Should the states be doing this on their own, or should they get some guidance from the CDC? And do you believe that the states reopening right now is a good step, given the struggle with contact tracing across the country, given that it is a slow rollout and the CDC will start rolling out their rehiring this coming week? So the help is coming in a bit slow, but leave us your thoughts below, leave a comment. And as always, guys, this is Mellissa Thomas coming to you with the News Rundown. Thank you guys so much for your time. We always appreciate you, and have a wonderful rest of your Saturday evening. I'll see you here again at 5 p.m. tomorrow night.